You are listening to the Fit Figure Formula podcast. I help female perfectionists beat self-sabotage and lose the weight for good using the Fit Figure Formula coaching program. I'm your host, Stephanie Riles, registered dietitian, personal trainer, and mindset transformation coach. If you've been struggling with all or nothing thinking, negative self-talk, or self-sabotage, this is the podcast for you. Learn how to get consistent and become the best version of yourself from the inside out. So let's get started. Hello and welcome to episode 33. So today I'm going to be talking about fighting for your limitations. And this is going to be a very short episode. So fun fact, I'm recording this the end of May. This is the last week of school for my kids and they are going to be out for the summer. And I'm really excited about that. And I was thinking about, well, should I just pause the podcast? But I really don't want to do that. My perfectionist brain wants to keep going. So I decided to stick to the schedule, but change the scope. And this is something that I teach my clients as well. So my desire is to keep the podcast going. So instead of me recording 45-minute episodes, I am going to be getting down and dirty. I'm going to give you one nugget and you can binge watch or listen to the rest. Okay. So today I'm going to be talking about fighting for your limitations. And this episode is actually inspired from talking to someone who booked a call, and we were talking about her not prioritizing herself. And she was talking about how much time she was spending on everyone else, like people on her job or her family. And she could not fathom her schedule being any different than what it was right now. And one thing that I know as a coach is that if I were to say, well, here's what you can do. You can do A, B, and C. Sometimes that helps people to steep deeper in the reason why they cannot change. And for this particular client who did end up signing up, by the way, she was having a really hard time thinking about her time being any other way, about herself being any other way than the way that it already had been. So I just want you to notice, this is the nugget for today. I want you to notice when you are fighting for your limitations. I want you to think about how much time you're spending talking about how it's not working or how much things cannot change or how things will always be the same versus using that brain energy to think of a solution, because there's not just one way to be. So if we look out in nature, right, in my opinion, the nature of God is variety. Like there's not one planet that's the same, not one tree, not one person, not one leaf, not one snail that is the same. So I feel like if we get out of our own mind, we can come up with at least one alternative solution if we're not satisfied with the way that we're showing up in our health journey right now. So if you know that your schedule, your job, your family, whatever it is keeping you stuck and uncomfortable in your body, and you can complain about it, you can talk about how much you dislike your job or dislike the situation, but you're not using your brain power to come up with a solution, I guarantee you there is a solution. And this is what I told her, was that as long as you can open up just one window of possibility that things could be different than what they are right now, then you're on the right track. But do not keep fighting for your limitations. Ask yourself, what am I willing to change? Out of everything that you want to change, whether it's your time or your mindset or being more consistent with your nutrition, and you feel like, I just don't know how that's going to happen. I don't have time to make that happen. I don't have the knowledge to make that happen. I want you to ask yourself, instead of thinking about why you can't change, I want you to ask yourself, what am I willing to change? So think about your story of why it cannot happen. And I just want you to start poking holes in that. The way that it's always been does not mean that's the way it always has to be. I don't care how old you are. You can learn a new skill, but you have to be willing first, because the best strategy won't matter if you don't believe it's going to work anyway. And that means you probably won't give your best effort, or when it gets tiresome or inconvenient, you'll stop and say, see, I knew that this couldn't change, but really you just didn't believe that you could do it in the first place. So I want you to think about, where are you fighting for your limitations? Where are you fighting to stay the same? Where are you fighting to think the same? And ask yourself, what is it that I'm actually willing to change? And just be paying attention to how much time you are spending in the problem, in what's not working, in what went wrong, in how much farther you have to go, in how unfair something or situation is. I want you to practice fighting just as hard in your brain to think about solutions, to ask yourself quality questions. And by quality question, I mean a question where the answer moves you further along versus asking yourself questions like, why can't I do this? Why has this been so hard? The answer to that question does not help you. It keeps you stuck. It keeps you at a dead end. So your first step of changing your mindset is always just awareness of the thoughts that are already going on in your brain. The thoughts that are going on in your brain about your time, about what you can achieve, about whether or not you can be consistent or committed or not, thoughts about what you look like in the mirror. And if you look at every thought as a choice, you can decide to choose to think a thought that's going to actually help move you forward versus keeping you stuck. So that is it for this micro episode. So I hope y'all enjoy these. It will be about different topics. You can expect these micro episodes throughout the summer. If you want more, you can always go back. I have 32 full episodes that you can go back and binge watch. While you're listening or watching, you can share on social media, or you can even go to the show notes and apply to work with me. So as of today, I am open for enrollment to come inside of the Fit Figure Formula. So if you're listening to this, you still have an opportunity to apply to the group program before it closes. But I will also be taking one-on-one clients as well. So if you need help, you need a registered dietitian in your back pocket, and you know that mindset is going to help you to stay consistent and get motivated, then you should be applying to the Fit Figure Formula. So thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for listening to the Fit Figure Formula podcast. If you're new here and you're struggling with your fitness journey, I invite you to take a super simple next step. Click the link in the show notes for a free training. If listening to this podcast has been helpful, imagine being inside the Formula Coaching Program. You can apply for coaching with the link in the show notes. I hope to see you inside.